Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shine from the Inside Community Podcast. Your host, Jennifer Collington. I'm loving the lighting in here today, although it's probably not the best for video content. I love the sun flaring up in there, so I'm going with it because I don't want it to deter me from not filming today, because today's video is on protection work. It is something that I would say is one of the foundations to moving forward. A lot of the time we forget that the foundation is really the most important part. So for me, when we get into this video, we're going to be talking about what protection is, because obviously we have a specific kind of protection we think about when we hear that word. Usually it's like physical and official kind of types. Anyway, there's other ones, and then we're going to go over kind of the importance of those things. The importance in general of protection work, especially when you start caring more and more about yourself as a spiritual being, or even as you move forward in your self-development, as you start putting boundaries in place, there is another level, which boundaries is a form of protection, right? And so there are different things that begin to matter once you start applying things that I've talked about in my other videos, or start taking them into consideration. And so we're going to go over the history of protection work, because it's clearly something that we've done for eons, right? And there's a reason why it's not being taught to us now, and why it is important for us to pick it back up and learn about it and make it a normal part of our daily experience. Because that's what we're going to talk about, is why it matters now, as even though there's a history to it, there's very big relevancy, even more so now than there ever was before, because the world was nothing like it is now, which makes it even more important to protect yourself, because it is so much louder, much more, I want to say toxic as well, because in the past, even though we needed protection work from certain things, there's a whole other level of conditioning and destruction happening out there now, that we are more connected, and we are comparing, and we are seeing a lot more people, and everybody's from different walks of life, that there is a lot of different things going out there on top of the toxicity that is coming from a lot of higher ups, allowing our life to be kind of this way, feeding us poison foods and not caring about the land and not caring about us, right? And so protection is incredibly important. It's something that I think a lot of young practitioners, specifically if you are into like any of the witch kind of atmosphere, they don't really think about and care about. And so a lot of them might lack that foundation when they start out in any kind of work. When you are somebody that does care about working with people, you might be somebody that takes on things really quickly, and you don't know how to manage it, and so it represents in a lot of physical or mental or emotional kind of issues for you. And so doing protection work is a way to help yourself. Not that you're not going to have these things impact you, but it is going to help you deal with it, and the severity of which these things impact you, right? And so anyways, moving along there, we're going to go into some simple applications of these, and then there's some deeper applications that we can go in, some things that are a little bit more, if you want to do something more than just, I'd say, the average calling it back in your power, or setting up, protection around you, like a protection bubble. And so then we're going to go over some simple main area kind of protections. This is for all the different levels. So if you're somebody that doesn't know how maybe to help yourself overall, these are ones that you can apply for spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. That way, when these things impact you, have quick little ones that just are there for you. And then if you're in the worst case scenarios, I recognize most people don't live a life like me or in other people, where their life is mellow, or where they have time for a lot of these tools, or where they have access to some of these steps that might help you the most. And so if you are in the worst case scenario, I wanted to give you an area that would help you to know, because at one point in my life I was as well. Maybe not to the level which some people are, but it doesn't matter the level you are. As long as you have the right tools, you can get out of whatever it is and deal with it as best as you can. And so the last thing we're going to go over is just how to call your power back. It's probably one of the things that I do the most regularly as a daily, not necessarily a daily ritual, but it is something that is quite frequent in my life, and I do think it's important, especially if you are somebody that gives a lot to people. And then we'll just do a few ending points, okay? So as we begin here, we're going to start off about what actually protection work is. And so when we look into that, it sounds like kind of like self-defense But I'm more meaning it in the energetic sense. So I'm not here to talk about how you're gonna, show up for Taekwondo and stuff like that, or an actual combat kind of class or anything like that. However, those are definitely things that you can take as a step of protection, and they are definitely a level to what I'm going to talk about, but they're not the only part of it, right? And so we have to protect ourselves as a form of self-care and love. A lot of people use protection out of fear, but in reality, the biggest thing that we want is it to be something we're using to care about ourselves, to know that we deserve this safety and this comfort, and a lot of us can only get that by giving it to ourselves, okay? And so as we move on, there's another level, is that the point is that we can do this in a variety of ways. Some people might get hell-bent on the fact that they don't do certain things, right? And that's okay. It doesn't have to look like how everybody else protects themselves. But also, a lot of us are not being given proper tools to know how we can actively take care of ourselves, because of the fact that they don't necessarily want you to have all the tools, because they don't want you to be protected by everything, okay? So as we move on, so then we move towards the actual types of what protection work is then, and what those kind of look like in the definition. So there's the official. This is kind of where we would classify as like temporary or permanent measures that we implement to safeguard something or someone from damage, harm during any kind of projects or life itself, right? So these are a form of like what the law might do. If you were to get like a restraining order, that is something that is like official, like is a documentation. So, but energy wise, which is more where we're going along, is protecting our personal auric field, okay? It's protecting from others to keep lower frequencies from draining us, and so you protect from others' energies, feelings, and moods, and you use your mind as a shield around the body, which is a large part of, we don't understand how powerful our mind is, so we don't know all the capabilities that it can actually do for us when we put them all together, which is part of what all these videos are, is when we put all these little compartments together, it really helps create an invincible person where you start shining from within, so you don't therefore need anything else to help you do so. But the more of us that are like that, the more of the world that gets to shine up. So the next level is mental health protection, which is again probably everything to do with energy work, is to help the mind, I would say, because the mind is where all of the energy starts spreading out from, right? And so protecting the mind is one of the biggest assets, I would say, that you could learn in any kind of skills that you pick up for self-development, okay? And so these are real-world actions to keep us safe from toxic and stress-filled kind of situations or scenarios or environments, okay? It uses healthy boundaries to protect peace of mind, saying no, and focusing on self-care. And then there's the physical wise, which is keeping your home, body, and belongings safe from real-world dangers, accidents, and harm, locking up your home and having alarms, smoke detectors, seatbelts, helmets, self-defense, aware of your surroundings, PPE, clothing, anything like that. And then there's the magical sense, right? And so this is where you use rituals, objects, symbols, intentions to ward off unseen forces, bad luck, and negative spirits, charging things with specific intent to protect us. I definitely do think that everything out there holds power. And so I'm not necessarily somebody that's classifying myself as a witch. So when I say that you can do magical workings, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a witch or a warlock or anything in that realm. There is power in things like salt. No matter who you are, salt is a level of protection. Anybody can cast a circle of salt around them. Anybody can put a circle of salt around their house. Those are basic level protection things that you can do for yourself, right? And there's different levels of that which you can add on to it, right? So something like adding rosemary, right? Really good to help protect your home. Anything like that. You could also do egg cleanses. These are a form of protection of clearing out what's already maybe gone into you, okay? And so these are all things that are very simple things that people could take to meaning that only witches or whatnot can, witches or anybody, people that do voodoo, people that are into any of the other realms of things. I don't need to get into that. The point is that a lot of these things we are not aware of, and therefore we don't know how much power we could be utilizing in them and in ourselves. And so we're aware of some of these consciously, for sure. A lot of us are aware of especially the physical ways to protect ourselves, because a lot of fear is driven by that. They want you to be scared. Therefore, you need these things to protect yourself physically. Whereas they don't want you to think that always thinking about these negative thoughts, being in fear, is not protecting yourself either. Right? They don't want you to think that that's lowering your frequency. They want you to stay on a lower frequency. So they want you to be unprotected in multiple other levels of protection. And physical is the one that they want us to be mostly consumed and absorbed with, because if we're so much in this physical sense of, and we cannot always ensure that we can protect ourselves. The best thing that we can do is have a level of preparation for when it might arise, because the more prepared you are, the more you're able to navigate it safely, the more you're able to navigate it in a way that it might be an outcome that you more prefer. And so I'm not here to tell you that by protecting yourself in these ways you're never going to encounter anything. Just like I'm not telling you that you have to believe whatever I say on here, because everybody has multiple different ways that they could do any of this stuff. Protection work, along like any other work and any other belief out there, is not one and done. There is a very bigger understanding and way that everybody could go about it and understand it. For me personally, protection work is incredibly important because of the fact that we are not aware that our mind, our spirit, our emotions, they are all under attack constantly. All right. And so physically we get this awareness that there is dangers in our physical reality, but we fail to see the mental ones that they are trying to put into us and constantly have conditioned us to have, right? And that's even just being constantly scared of your surroundings. The probability of a lot of stuff happening is not likely, and a lot of the time our actions determine how that's going to move, right? Sometimes something wouldn't escalate to a point if we were not in a fearful state. Sometimes the more agitated or fearful we are, the more that we get to a place where we react in a way that is not how we might normally, and so the situation doesn't evolve in a way that might be as easygoing, right? I'm not saying to fawn, I'm not saying to have a fearful response or to do anything like that, but it's the way of us being so scared and agitated with each other that we produce more aggressive results with each other. Because honestly, I'm very much a like person. So if you are somebody that is agitated and rude to me, you're gonna get a lot of the time that energy back. Not because I have to give it back, largely because I realize I don't really give a shit now, and it's not because I don't want to be kind to everybody. There's a certain point where if you're out in the world and you think that you can talk to everybody and be like that with everybody, I will definitely let you know you cannot. But you have to cross quite a level of boundary for me to even feel like I have to do that. And that's the thing, is we shouldn't be automatically there. Not everybody is what we think, but I do understand that there is a reason and a good concern to be concerned about protecting yourself and being that way. I'm just saying, when we get back into energy and thoughts, the more that we scream to our environment that I am in danger, the more our brain is looking for danger, the more every opportunity now is actually a threat rather than an opportunity. The more shut down we are compared to the more open we are, because we don't, at some point, if you're so busy looking for that, you don't trust yourself enough to relax, to know that I don't have to be constantly in fear mode, and I can actually be in this moment. I can be enjoying this moment. They don't want you to have that moment of enjoyment. They want you to be wrapped in fear. And so when we have no mental protection, we are somebody that is constantly in that fearful state. We don't have the ability to pull ourselves out. Nothing is around us safe. Therefore, we're not really interacting with the environment. We're trying to protect ourselves from it. And these things, what they do is, instead of protecting yourself from it, because I had a lot of social anxiety for a really long time. And so I was somebody that was really not okay with dealing with people, really not okay with dealing with a lot of situations. I have ADHD, and I do believe a fair level of autism. But what that does is it made me very sensitive to the way some people talk to me, and it made me sensitive to the way some people's environments were. And there's very big difference when you're in one that you feel safe to be yourself and you can be actively who you are, versus one that makes you feel uncomfortable where you're in a protection mode. And I get the difference. And so I'm not telling you that everything is wrong in the way that you're dealing with it. But the ways that I learned to protect myself for a long time kept me away from the world. They kept me guarded, right? And see, these protections, what I talk about now, they're a way for you to open up and to be part of this world that we're in without being in that fearful state. Because even now, even if something happens, like, I would do my best if I was attacked by a cougar out on a hiking trail, okay? I would do my best. But at some point, I have to be okay with the fact I might not survive that attack. And that is just what it is, right? I would do my darndest in that moment if it did arise, but I'm not putting power into thinking that's always going to be happening for me. So I'm one of those people that doesn't bring, like, even when I go out, I feel sad because there's so many women that feel the need to bearing so much protection, and some of them great because they do and they are safe because something did happen. And I do think our intuition does alert us to that, but that's how I strongly believe. My intuition is strong enough that I'm not going to go in a situation that's going to happen to me, right? I'm not going to feel it that night. I'm not going to go that trail at that time. I'm going to go at this time. I'm going to be called there at this moment, or this is what's going to happen, or that's where I'm grateful for the lulls in my day because there was a specific thing that held me back, but it held me back because I was protecting me, right? And so everything at every step is a way of me protecting myself from not trying to, one, magnetize the problem towards me, which is what we largely do by overly thinking about stuff. And the other is by setting the best of intention of knowing, even if it happens, it is what it is, but I have a lot of skills. I could do a lot of things to help myself in that moment if I needed to, and I trust myself to do that. But also, I'm okay. I've lived my life fully. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go, and that's okay. So largely, I believe being in those places, it helps you to understand that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. It's that thinking that you're not going to be and being consumed by it that can be quite problematic for us in the long run. And even when a lot of people are doing their magical workings or spells, if you don't feel safe, if you don't feel comfortable and you're not doing the protection work, or if you don't know about what kind of other energies are out in the world and you're just playing around with energies, you can invite anything in. Right? And that's even with people, right? Even in this physical sense, if we are not aware of the spiritual, the mental effects, or even what's happening in the energy realms of magic, you don't know what you can be attracting in. And so a lot of people don't understand the nuances below. And the more that we can find these, the more that we can be aware of kind of the importance of how much protection actually impacts us versus being somebody that allows it to control us, in a sense of, if you're dictated by needing protection, then you're living in a fearful state. If you're somebody that knows you are always protected, you're living in an acceptance of that, innately deserving of protection, and trust in yourself to know that even when situations arise, it doesn't have to be worst case. Like, maybe you're gonna fight that cougar and kill it, and gonna be on this people on the news. It's like, what the heck? But sometimes they're not around, right? And so that's why me being very aware and me trusting in my intuition to really scan surroundings around me and getting really strong intuition has been some of my greatest saving skills. Some of my greatest tools that have been what have led me to safety. Some of the things that have alerted me before they've happened. I've had many near-death experiences, people. And each one, there was a moment where I was like, well, especially the more last ones, like the more recent they are, there was this moment of knowing something was going to happen before it happened, and I decided to stay on the course that I was on, and I got to see what that looks like. The universe will always try to pull you out of it, and when you don't, it tries to do something even bigger, right? And so you'll get a few moments of there's something going to happen, and there's something that you need to be prepared for. So if you are ignoring that and you don't even know how to hear that, and that's a large part of what they don't teach us for a reason, right? Then we will not ever accurately be able to predict that's going to happen for ourselves. And we also will not be able to prepare ourselves for it. And we also will then be always living in a fearful state of it could happen at any time. It's going to happen to me now, and I'm not going to be prepared, because we're actively continuously in that cycle of telling ourselves that, right? So as you can see, the more maybe that you become aware of who you are and how precious you are, the more you become aware of how much you maybe want to protect that, how much you need to protect that, how much there is actually happening out there. And that's sometimes why suddenly you get into this work and you get rid of a lot of people in your life. Not because you want to, but because you slowly realize they do not care about you like that. And so we get very selective who we have around us. So like this journey, sometimes it's very lonely in the beginning, because in the beginning you do have to say goodbye to a lot of these things as protection and of these people. And some of them are people that could be family, could be real close to you. When in the beginning of my journey, I left my whole family, and I did leave them in a way that I wasn't talking to them. Complete cold cut in a lot of ways for some of them, not all of them, and even with friends, a lot of friends I have disconnected with. Some of them I've reconnected. Some of them I know our journey will never meet us back up again, right? And that just is what it is. The point is that as we go on, we learn why we let go of people. And a lot of the time it is for the benefit of us. Sometimes we learn that we did it because we were dealing with something emotionally, and we were not ready for that level of love or that level of understanding, and therefore we self-sabotaged it. Right? And so what happens is we come back around and we face these things again, and we're willing to accept it. And in one, that protects you from acting that way again, but also protects you from choosing self-sabotage again, because you see what it costs you. You see the weight of what you ruin or destroy, and you don't want to do that again, because how many opportunities are you going to get that it's going to be of equal caliber, So as we can see, once you move more into your self-development, why we become maybe a bit more particular. The more you care about this stuff, the more you're going to become particular about what's around you, because you are trying to protect yourself, be that from people or family, friends, lovers, whatever, teachers, guides, right? Even musicians, artists. Like, you're going to be really careful about what kind of things you allow to impact you. And then things. That's why a lot of us become very aware of our foods, our clothes, right? Scents, right? So it's very interesting at how much you do start to really care about yourself the more you do protect yourself, because you start to realize how valuable you are, how much deserving and love you deserve, like care you deserve. So anyways, we're moving on to importance of protection work here. And so one of the biggest things that you want to keep in mind with protection work is the more you honor your vessel, the more you keep it in the best position, condition, and functionality that it could be in to help you move forward in your day-to-days, right? And so if we are an avatar body, it's important to think about it this way, because this is something I try to remind people of, that if there are things feeding off of us right out there, and they feed off of us from being in low or negative energy senses, then the worst thing that we can do is be ignorant, right? Because then the more we do, the less vital or vitality we're going to have, because it's going to be depleting us constantly, because we are open for it at that point, right? The less sovereignty we're going to have, because we are not aware. Therefore, something else is controlling these things that we are allowing condition to play out. So the more unconditioned and ignorant you are, or less conditioned, or more conditioned you are and more ignorant you are to these things, the less likely it is that you're going to be running your own body. These things will run it for you. And that's why a lot of the time you get people like, I don't know what come over me, act wasn't like me, and how some people, the further they go down the hole, sometimes the less like themselves they appear, right? Because they are no longer in their body. There is something else there, right? And that's why when some people, especially like with depression, like, which is something that I've dealt with, right? It's something that where you leave, it's almost like you walk out of your home and you're not there. So when you talk to somebody, for me, and I know that they're not feeling themselves, they've left their home to me. They're not in their heart space right now. And so for me, when they get back home, they will be that person. They will return to themselves. But at this point, they're on a venture. And on those ventures, you don't take all of you with you sometimes. And therefore, it's hard to reach the same person on the same level that you might normally, because they're not there. And so protection work helps us so that we are protecting these things so that we don't always have to go astray. But even when we do, that we're safe, especially mentally or spiritually, because energy work is some of the hardest work that we could do, right? And so when we don't run our body, what that means is past stories or scripts or anything like that, trauma, our past lower frequencies, these are all what are running us. And this is what they feed off by keeping us stuck and run us instead, because they want to make sure that we are the people that continue this lifespan for them, continue feeding them. The more aware we become, the more we wake up, the more they starve, right? And they don't want that, which is why we have a lot of pushback right now. A lot of the world is moving forward, and it's beautiful to see, right? We have a lot of people and things coming into place now that are helping protect the planet, that are steering us in the right direction, to making us actually help us do all the right moves right now. And that is very amazing. It is July 21st, 2026, and there's a lot of pushback. There's still a lot of bad happening out there. There's still a lot of ignorance happening out there, right? And so it's not all good, but it ain't all bad, and the more that we help to enlighten the planet, the more that we can see this change go further, because the only reason that darkness can thrive is a lot of the time miseducation or undereducation, under-awareness, and a lot of time pain. I get why you would agree with some people when you have lived with that pain for a long time. You don't want other people to feel more joy than you feel, so you don't want them to have that because you feel like you're not going to get more, right? Or you didn't get more, so you don't deserve it. And so it's really easy for us to be stuck, right? And for them to control us this way. And so the more education there is with this, the more we could realize that more people thriving means that we get to thrive more too. Right now, the problem is there's such an unequal balance of who's thriving, right? And so many are just surviving in this world. So when we become conscious, we become aware at how important it is not so much to protect as we are in danger, but to prevent any issues due to an awareness that some things can rise that can affect us. The more consciously we choose authentically to live true to us, the higher our frequency naturally resides at, and the more beneficial we are to the collective together, raising up and changing for the benefit of all, which is largely why we're not taught proper ways to navigate important protection, as in large parts unprotected, especially in the mind, is why society is hurting so much. And healing is preventing what that controls that, and we're destroying that, right? The more we heal that, the more we destroy it, and no longer are we able to be controlled by it. And so the more awareness we steer clear of for things and naturally protect ourselves of by staying away from, right? Not feeling you have to endure all these things. For a long time, I put myself in the worst circumstances because I believed I deserved it. For later in life, it was like, I can handle it though, right? Like when I was friends with people that weren't good for me, dating people that weren't good for me, it's like, but I can handle it, right? Maybe I'll be the one to help them. Meanwhile, they treat me like poop, like there's a certain level of you think that you deserve to take on that and to prove something, right? And it's not on you, and you don't need to prove anything. And so it's important because we can therefore stop putting ourselves through these things that need us to prove something, and we can just simply be ourselves, right? We can live true to that, and knowing that the people that actually come into our life and that are beneficial for us will actually never require that of us. And even if we go through it, it'll never be like what those people that are toxic try to do, which is like make us take the entire weight of it, right? When you actually are working with somebody that is good for you, it's like you feel them carrying that weight with you. You feel them with you in it. It's not a just on you thing, right? And so lack of education is a big weapon. I would say probably one of the biggest. That's why they charged money for it, for people to get any kind of like really good education or anything like that, is they generally don't want us educated. And so I talk about it, and protection being spiritually and mentally are by far the most crucial, as even a shift in those has the power to shift all situations. The more you have awareness in your mind, the less you care about most of the issues going on. And I don't mean that in like you're ignorant to them. I mean like drama no longer matters to you. Right? The materialistic things no longer matter to you. Success is no longer what they say that you need to claw for every step, and it becomes the slow getting to enjoy your life, feeling safe and comfortable, right? Feeling confident in yourself. Success changes when you have protection for yourself and protection for your mind, because you realize their false ideals of what this life and what actually greatness or success or like worth actually are versus what they claim it should be. And one of the ones that they claim it to be is not something that we can ever have. Protection largely helps protect you from this false idealism of perfection. Perfection is nowhere, and that's what they claim you need to be in order to ascend, right? In a lot of ways, even in my field itself, right? But in other areas, right? And it's never just you can be good enough and still do it, and your life can be good enough just as it is. And one of the quotes I have here that I didn't read when I first started, which is a boring life. Sometimes a protected life can be a boring life in the most blessed of ways. And that's because usually the more you protect yourself, the less craziness you got going on. And it's just because you do not put yourself through it anymore. There's a big, huge horn happening out there for it. So, confirmation. Anyway, the point being is that when you have the power in your mind to shift these situations and protect yourself from them, it does something entirely different to you, right? Like even me now, when I go through depression, it's not like I'm shit, even though those are what the thoughts might be saying to me, right? It's like, wow, something in me is dying now. What do I need to do to grieve them, and what is being birthed through it? Well, no wonder it's so hard, right? And to give myself that space, that sets a boundary for me to be like, yo, instead of you attacking yourself, how can you care for yourself? And that protects me from what mental fucking demons want to tell me otherwise about myself, right? Because they just love to pick at you, right? They just love that. And the moment you let them, they'll keep going. Like they can feast on you forever. That's partially why they want us to keep here forever in a negative state, is they can continuously do that. So anyway, point being, we don't let them, right? In my depressed state, protection now has been understanding what that means and treating myself accordingly. And also when those, thoughts come in that maybe aren't what I really align with, hearing them and judging them from like, where are your like facts, From a logical standpoint, I have to start actively not engaging, but also questioning what you're telling me. I would never tell myself these things. So why are you? Right? And there is usually some negative, either energy, thought, something maybe I need to work through, but sometimes it is a negative entity. People send those to us through bad thought, bad will, right? They don't even need to be doing anything. People don't actively need to be wishing bad on you to send you bad, evil eye. You just be like, ugh, I hate that she has such a good life. You know what I mean? And then it's like, boom, you just sent that person some negative juju. It doesn't even need to be something very crazy. It's just our power of our thought alone, and which is why even if you don't believe, even if you don't practice, it's still important for you to be aware that these things are going on. And to pretend is something that, a lot of us can find ourselves facing some of these situations and not understanding why, because you're pretending that there isn't something else out there causing them to arise, Anyway, so the more that we can have this shift take place for these situations, we're going to be in a different place where we're more willing to make peace with others, right? And make peace with what we don't control. And, if you're in a place where you don't feel well about yourself, you are going to defend sometimes your belief to the nth degree, instead of just understanding that maybe you're wrong or that there's another thing to be seen here. And so protection work, it's important, right? There's a lot of reasons why, and it makes it a very valuable tool for us to be using as we shift protection work into being able to help keep us safe, just because we have an awareness of ourselves and what's going on around, but also to know that we have an awareness to deal with it, right? And perspective is everything in this in itself. So feeling you need protection can be as bad as no awareness at all, is because if you feel you constantly need to be protected, you're telling yourself that you are in danger, right? And that, we like to call that a problem-focused mentality versus a solution-focused mentality. So if you are problem-focused, you're seeing the problem being like, oh, I need more money, I need to lose weight, I need to do this. And then you're always going to have what happens unconsciously is, if your brain tells you that you're always going to have these things, and if you want to work on them, no matter what you do, what's happening is your brain's like, well, I need to always keep these circumstances that are going to keep this result happening, because these are things that are always going to happen for me. And so with money, that might mean that you have a gambling issue that you're always going to have, right? You get money and it goes. So you might be really great at getting it, but keeping it is a problem, right? And so it's not that you need more money, it's that you have to learn how to take care of it. And so the solution-based is going to be like, you know what? I want a better relationship with money, and so I'm going to create one. And by that, I'm going to understand it better and look at how I can keep it and multiply it. The point is that you want to be telling money that I'm going to learn about you, and I'm going to do my best to show up in a way that I can keep you in my life. And by doing that, you're focusing on what you can do to make a change. You actually have the control to do something about that, right? So when we don't have any protection for ourselves and you feel like you overly need it for yourself, it can be something that you constantly are telling yourself and bringing that in to need things, have situations and people arise that you need protection from. And so it can be worse than having no awareness at all, because what you're doing then is actively creating more problems for yourself instead of helping yourself. So how old is protection work? Well, very old. It's at least 30,000 years old. Long ago, it is seen the physical world and the invisible energy world were all connected, right? And so it was used in shamanism for spiritual guards, protecting the tribe's souls from malevolent spirits. Evil eye magic was used in ancient Egypt. Jealous glances caused sickness, ruin life, war charms of the Eye of Horus. So it's funny because I was talking about it earlier, and that's just, people don't have to be doing anything. They can just be looking at you with discontent, envy, jealousy. That's why some people who do work like, I don't know, glamour magic, but you don't do any protection magic. Well, you might get a lot of attention, but it might not be positive, because at the same time, there are people that will be jealous of the way people are noticing you. And then if you don't have any protection up, then you're going to get just as much nastiness back as you do goodness, right? And at some point, that's why protection matters, is because at some level, even though you've done good work for just yourself, that shouldn't really impact anybody, right? There are people out there that they don't like seeing that. Not that they don't know that you've been up to nothing. They just know you look good and they don't like that, right? And so it's really easy for that to happen and for people to wish ill will on people. And so protection is something that, even in the littlest of ways, it is nice to call your energy back because you give it out, but also people take it from you because they want what you have, right? Especially if you're lighting up the room. And also to set a protection grid around yourself, because that way when people do send you shade or something like that, it bounces right off, right? And sometimes you can do return to senders, which is they get back what they're giving to you. I like to alchemize, so send whatever you want at me. I like that shit. Anyway, point being, Middle East was the next one, and they're 2,000 years ago. They burned demon bowls upside down under floors to trap bad spirits, preventing them from crossing the threshold. So this is something they did as protection work for their homes, right? And for people while they're sleeping. Indigenous Australians used dreams and sacred stories to ground individuals' identity and provide mental resilience. Greek philosophers, this is in 500 BCE, developed rituals for mental boundaries. Stoicism taught people to protect their minds from panic, anger, and outside stress, focusing on more of what you can control. Salt in doorways to keep moisture, bugs away, but also a negative line to protect you from anything negative crossing it. And then tons of charms and symbols are still known to this day for protection, one of which mostly is used in religion, the crucifix or the cross. That's spiritual protection and holy blessing. Crystals, if you're somebody that really is into crystals, black tourmaline is really a popular one because it protects your personal energy field, soaks up your negative bad vibes like a sponge. There's other ones, obviously. There's a ton that I can go into, especially because I did a symbolism video, and a lot of those are on there. So the point is that we still have a lot of things, and at any point, you have the power to make any object around you, right, a token of protection for you, right? Maybe you have a little figure of a hippo. Do you know how territorial and aggressive hippos are? Just saying. At any point, anything around you can become a talisman for you, and a talisman of protection or a reminder of your protection, right? And so not everything has to be specifically something, that you chose in that way, or like history has seen it that way, but it can mean something specific for you. And when you do those kinds of things, it's even more powerful. Like, say a hippo was mine, right? When I'm out in the wild and I see anything like an advertisement, the word, it comes up in a book, or I see it on a show or songs, or wherever it comes up, that is now an omen that I'm being protected, that my protection guides are around me, or that I have the power to go through something, because maybe I'm going through something personally while I see that. And then it's a reminder, wow, I'm protected because that is something specifically for me, right? You see something with a crucifix, and that can mean something for anybody. So it's sometimes the more personalized the omen or sign for you, the more powerful it is for you, because it is something that you've created just for you, right? And so why is it more critical now than it was back then? Well, back then we were not all connected the way that we are now. The internet, advertisements, we compare lives because of social media, but also just in general because of magazines and because of rhetoric in written word about what people who are successful or beautiful or worthy or, happy are like. And so why it matters now is our hyper-connectedness. That is the ultimate reason why protection is the most important aspect now. And we're dealing with mass amounts of others' energies these days. Like in 1 minute, if you scroll because you don't like any video you find, say on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, how many people's energy did you absorb? You don't even know if they have people who touch that video that edit it for them. So it's not just the people in that video, it's whoever touched that video also. And then you don't know who posted it actually sometimes, right? And where they got it from. So at some point, we don't even know how many people's energies we are digesting. And when you are somebody that posts a video, you have no idea how many people are watching or absorbing your energy or taking from you or putting anything on you, and so there's a lot of stuff happening out there. And so many shows, people, stories, social gatherings, algorithms are designed to trigger highly emotional responses, usually fear, envy, anger, and all of these are on the lower scale of frequency, right? So we don't want to be there. So when we are watching online, this is how you know when people are rude and leaving terrible comments that they're not doing well, because you were on there spreading hate, right? And those are emotions we don't want to be in there. I'm on the socials never to judge. I have never judged, and the only time I come across judgment is when I'm seeing somebody judging others or making stupid content that makes me upset. But in the other realm of it, they are free. They can put out whatever they want, so I can't be. There's a certain level where I'm just scroll on by. It's not for me, right? But if I engage, I could have like 30 people on that negative, clickbait, stupid thing reach out to me and make stupid things against me, and them not even know me and not even anything. And like, people nowadays are psychotic in the way of like ruining people's lives over an online comment. So it's like, it's a bit much. I'm just saying. And that's the whole reason, is they actively want it to be this negative spear, because when we enter into that, then we can be easily fed off of. But when we turn around and corrupt it for our own good, positivity, sharing the love, showing all these beautiful changes in the world, teaching people how to be better, coming together and like showing different communities and support groups that are there for people, showing different advancements that are happening in different communities, right? When we actually have these amazing things step forward, the internet and social media and everything like that of that nature can become this beautiful sphere that we can actually blossom and help build our energy off of. It doesn't have to be negative, but it just so happens that nowadays you do have to protect yourself because there is a large dose of both. I don't really, now that my algorithm is more primed for me, I don't see as much of that stuff. Sometimes it irritates me because I know there is terrible stuff going on and I'm not being shown it on purpose. They don't want me to see it. Right? And so that's why it's important sometimes to go look for yourself, to go do the research, to see what's actually happening. Because sometimes the algorithms are purposely also halting you from seeing things. But also it's another reason to know that you don't want that on your algorithm 24/7. Right? Just like we don't want the news on 24/7 only spouting crap, because it is not going to be good for us. It is not going to be healthy or beneficial for us to hear negative crap happening 24/7. There is a big part of what protection is, and that's taking these breaks. Not forcing yourself to constantly be on socials, but if you are and it's heavy emotional stuff, or you're feeling some kind of way when you're watching it, to take a moment away from it, to maybe be like, oh, I need to do something for me, which is not socials. Right? Anyway, without practice or awareness, we can absorb heavy levels of collective stress, panic, and heavy energy, and this works like a personal firewall. So like when we have protection, we can safeguard ourselves from these. So I see only certain things and I'm like, okay, I need to take a moment from here, or I feel some kind of way because maybe somebody's really made me upset. And I don't say they made me upset. I allow myself to get upset because I care about humanity. I care about the earth. I care about how people treat themselves. So when I see certain videos and see certain circumstances, naturally I'm going to be very upset, and that's okay. It's just that for me to be like, I know this is happening out there, and why this is important to me, this job, this work, is part of my heart because of the fact that that is happening out there, and I don't want that happening in the future. So what do? We make people better. We teach them how to be better, and so it's not going to be me arguing for 24 minutes with some dude named Brian or Zach or whatever their names are, like user 2346. I don't need to argue with you for me to feel any kind of thing. It's not helping the world to have a conversation with you. I have a conversation with the people who want to open up, to grow, to understand, and for this to be harmony on this planet. So I move in towards that realm of life and that sphere, which is why I'm not in some of the negative spheres and why I don't get involved in a lot of negative crap, right? And so for me, we have a ton. What I believe about protection, why it's so important, is we have a ton of pressures. There are so many pressures now, more than there ever was before, because back in the past, even though we were compared in our town, now we're compared globally. Frequencies, there's tons of frequencies also that we never were aware of, and now we are aware of. There's tons of toxins that, again, not something we're aware of, now very aware of. And there's manipulations, and so a ton more manipulations than our ancestors ever dealt with, even though they dealt with some in their time as well. But that's because there's so many different ways that they can manipulate us now, right? And so our ancestors dealt with or processed things differently than how we have to now. They got more time and opportunity to check out. They were not all connected by a phone and devices and technology 24/7. They also didn't have to navigate as many poisoned foods or waters. They also didn't have as much poisoned air quality. They didn't have as many regulations with growing their own food. They didn't have as many pressures with having to do so many things outside the home before even just being in the home to take care of it. Their number one thing was their own homestead, and so we are dealing with a crazy amount of stuff compared to them, which is why even though we aren't dealing with some of the harder stuff, right? Like, predators as much in our environment, and why some of us are overly anxious, because we are primed to be dealing with more stuff, that we have this calm life that our body is not used to. Our nervous system's like, where's that actual stuff I have to do that my ancestors had to do, and now we don't have to anymore. And so that's where you get anxiety, is because we're ruminating, we're thinking, we're not doing as much, we're sitting around, right, and comparing more, about being like, wow, look how much they're doing and I'm not. And so then, it's something that is very important to know, that you were dealing with far more than they ever did, but also just in a different way, because they dealt with far more than us in another way. Life was harder, far more for them, right? And they didn't know what they had as much as we now know what they had, because now we don't get to experience that life that way, because we've created this kind of life. But we can create a different one, which is how this starts, is by recognizing we need protection from that old earth, and how to create that new earth for ourselves is about embracing actively how to take care of us and the planet. And part of that way is by the protection, right? Just putting these things in place. And so, like, one of the biggest things is they didn't have to deal with the ramifications of Wi-Fi signals, right? All that kind of nastiness. Cell towers, Bluetooth, electric grids, videotaping, being recorded in private moments, surveillance, comparison to others, toxins, pollutions, unhealthy environments, food, water, drones, constant stimulation and knowledge, close proximity to others in crowds with unconscious, heavy, infectious energy, constant subliminal influence and conditioning. So, like, when we actually look at the little list there, like, it's actually crazy to think about some of these things that, they had the pleasure of actually living. We have the pleasure of being surveillanced and controlled, and also poisoned. So love that for us, because we're changing that. I think the more people that become aware of how disgusting that is, the easier it is for us to be like, no bueno, we're not doing that. It's no good. Not happening anymore. And so, but be gentle on yourself, because when you think about how hard this is for you, it generally is hard. Generally is. And that's for a reason. I do genuinely believe that we're all working towards something better, and it will get better, but it's going to be hard, because we have to do the work to put it in to see it grow, right? So protection work isn't seen as a cage to keep us safe. That's like the opposite of what protection is, which is what a lot of us are used to, is the guarding kind of metaphor. How do I guard this? As in a way of like hiding yourself away from the world. I used to describe in a lot of my writings that I was like Rapunzel, in the sense of like my hair. I was locked up in a tower away from the world to keep myself safe. And then around that, there was multiple levels of fencing. And if you really liked me, you had to go through all of that to come up and find me in my tower. You were never going to find me out in the world, right? And that's what's changed now, is even though I am still up in my tower, I live up high, the point is that, like, for me personally, I don't have any of these walls anymore. It's not as difficult to come see me, but you better believe that people don't approach without some level of, mild trepidation. Like, they think about it first, they percolate. I'm not somebody that anyone approaches lightly, I don't think. So anyway, how do we apply it in a maximum results kind of way that's simple? Like, it's pretty, obviously the physical ones are going to be the most obvious. Like, oh, you want to get better at fighting, you want to get stronger, well, then you go take a combat class, like those kinds of things. And when you go take it, it's not because you're scared, it's because, oh, this would be good to know. I'm just interested. And like, a lot of it is good to move your body, and some of it is really good for somatics, hitting something, not people, but like punching bags or whatnot. When you're a very kind, loving person, it is almost funny to think about hitting things. So it's neat. Just like, I have this one ritual where I make people break a plate, and you write stuff on it, and it's stuff you want to get rid of. We break the plate, and you're breaking away from all those things. And people who don't throw stuff, people who don't make a fit, people who don't wreck things, is a very big, empowering thing to just break something, and that's why those rage rooms can be very good for some people. But anyway, point being, again, your intention behind everything you do is going to be the most powerful part of it all. So not taking it because you're scared and you have to learn how to fight and defend yourself. I'm taking it because it's good to know if I ever needed this skill set, but also because it makes me feel good to do these maneuvers, to feel my body doing this, to show my body how capable it is of doing these things, right? So anyway, we're moving on now to more of the simple suggested ways to protect yourself, which is like going to be in all the different kind of levels, okay? So first hour and the last hour of your day and night, I've talked about it in multiple of my videos because it will never not be important. These are the most programmable times of your day. These are going to be the most powerful time for when your brain is going to be getting primed for what it's going to be like either that day or the next day. So if you spend your morning or night right before you go to bed looking at negative content, then you might wake up or go to bed with a negative mindset. And then instead of thinking about what all went well for you, what you're looking forward to the next day, you're going to be more waking up like, oh, bah humbug, it's another day. You know, and the reason is because there's nothing good coming in. It's only negative content that you're feeding it, right? And so the first and last hour of the day is a really good time to start saying no phone. This protects your brain from starting or ending in a stress or absorbing it mode. Kind of helps you to actually get back to yourself. And it's nice to do, like some people say you should avoid TV or movies, which is powerful to do as well. I like to turn on movies that I've seen before, and most of the time I like to turn on ones that are more positive or things I watched as a kid, because they bring me that protection and safety of being a child, but also my brain is not being stimulated by something it doesn't already know, it's not comfortable with. And so I don't have to stay up and watch it. I already know what's going to happen. But a large time I like to do that is because it helps me fall asleep a little bit easier. I can fall asleep on my own as well. But when I do, usually, there is this 1 hour before I go to bed, I usually do the quick tidy up. I clean up my place. I make sure everything's ready to go for tomorrow. And then I get myself into bed and usually pass out pretty quick. But when I wake up, sometimes if I do have stuff happening, I do check my phone. But the whole point is I don't rush to my social medias, right? I check the things I need to check, and then I get on with my morning rituals, which I like to greet the day. I like to go and see the sun. I like to go see my garden. I like to say hi to my cat. I like to go to the bathroom. I like to put on oil on my face. I like to make a morning drink. So, and then by that time, after the end of that, guess what? Maybe now I'll check my phone and socials and see what's going on in those. But socials is one of the last things that I run to, because that's the one where I'm primed to see the most unpredictable things. So it could be something that might be one of those people posting a fucking terrible rage bait stuff that makes you click on it, and that could warp me for the rest of the day, because then I'll be on a tyrant the rest of the day about that topic because it made me so mad at that moment. But that was a choice I made, right? And at any moment I could pull myself out of that. So I try not to let myself also get consumed in those things, and try to then take myself somewhere that might be more conducive for myself, rather than sitting at home and stewing about it, right? So anyway, so first and last hour of the day or night, important, okay? Choose to honor a no. So when you are presented with any kind of suggestion, each week you should look at trying to find a situation where you can actively just say no to. Something that, it's draining. It's not just anything. You're not just saying no to anything that doesn't matter. It's something that genuinely drains you, and you're like, you know what? No, I don't have to do this. Whether that be something simple like, I'm overthinking this situation. You know what? No, I'm not gonna. No. And just move on with your day. Go do something else. Go do something you're like, heck yes. All right? But choose to honor a no. Don't force yourself to do something you genuinely don't want to. Don't force yourself to talk to somebody. Don't force yourself to go thinking about something or navigate something, especially when it's draining in a way that is not going to be productive for you. It's one thing to deal with something that's draining that you have to do for yourself. Like, I don't like doing the dishes. I find it draining. But I love doing the dishes because I love a clean kitchen. And I love to know that Jennifer, tomorrow morning especially, doesn't have to do them. And so guess what? I'm going to do the dishes because of that. Even though it does drain me, it fulfills me the next morning, right? So anyway, Next is a shower cleanse or shield. So this is one of the best times I would say to actively program to cleanse yourself and to set up your bubble. For one thing, shower purifying you, right? And you can go over with a shower method. There's a lot of people that you can visualize all the negativity rolling down, falling off of you with all the water cleansing you completely. And then the next level is because you're in a room, usually showers have curtains, and even if you don't, then the bathroom door usually has a door. Regardless of those situations, both of those create a liminal space where you are now in a portal of change. So it's a very big time where you can call your power back as well, which is what I love to do. Love to call my power back, cleanse myself, and then set up a protection shield. So that's one of the last steps, because once you've called your power back, right? Once you've cleansed yourself, you have all that bad juju gone. Now you want to protect it. Now it's like, oh, this is mine. It's staying with me, right? And so the bathroom and the shower is really big, important time that you can use it, and it can be a quick way to collectively do all of them versus like having different intervals in your day where you do them. I do them as a way to streamline and make things as simple as possible. It's like, and also because water, incredibly powerful, right? We program water with our thoughts and with speaking, and also with intention. While you are in there, it's just a really big time for you to be easily able to transform yourself, especially if you're somebody that has a harder time knowing how to do that, right? Anyway, so I have a way, I do describe the shower cleansing shield, which is imagine the shower washing away all that's heavy, then envision the water charging up, that's all that's aligned with you. Set your intention to lock in your natural energy, surround yourself by a bubble of protection that allows you to harness your own energy, blocking out any low vibes from getting in. You can visualize whatever color that you want, but most of the time, the most powerful ones are going to be like gold, white, or violet, and those are because they are to do with the higher realms. And so your auric field actually extends beyond you. And so you don't want to think of it in the colors that you might already have naturally inside of it, which our chakras have those colors. So white, gold, and violet, the violet flame, those are all ones that are more up your upper levels, especially white and gold. Those are ones that are very powerful to have. So normally I would do white or gold bubble around me. And that's just the energy that you have. And you can even use that bubble when you're feeling like super negative. You can be like, oh, I'm setting up a bubble of protection around me. With every inhale, I'm inhaling more of that divine light of protection, and whatever you're feeling, rejuvenation, calmness, serenity, awareness, and with every exhale, I'm releasing all of that negative juju, all that bad energy, all this stress, all this anxiety, all of this rumination, all this fear, all this doubt, whatever you're feeling, right? I'm releasing it outside of my bubble, and it no longer can get back in, right? And I like to do everything I do, I followed up with, and so it is, and now so it is, and now so it is, or so it is, blessed be. Those kinds of things, they make a proclamation that what you've now stated is done. So it almost like seals it. And I like to do that especially with protection work, because you want to make sure that whatever now you've done is now encased. You don't want anything to get in between of that protection level, right? And so anyway, so the last few we have here is salt in any form. You can stand on some salt on the ground. It neutralizes bad vibes, but you can wash your hands and forearms with salt and cool water to also neutralize bad vibes. I love salt baths for this because I do a lot of energy work and deal with a lot of heavy energies, that it's important for me to always purify my aura. So one of the biggest things that I do is have a lot of salt baths. And then you can carry black tourmaline, which we've talked about earlier, but if you're not into crystals, then you don't have to. But yeah, literally beneficial to have it. But if you do, you have to think of crystals like babies, okay? And plants. They are not just something you get like an object and you don't have to take care of it. They are alive. And by that I mean they need cleansed, right? They need charged up. So black tourmaline, I say this because it's especially powerful to know that it's a sponge of negativity. So if you do not cleanse it, now you have this big old sponge that's just negative hanging out with you. So the more you cleanse it, the more you get rid of whatever it's soaking up, right? So you can just set it on salt occasionally. You can cleanse it with any incense you have, right? You can go set it out in the ground on the dirt. That helps too. But to charge it up, one of the best things you can do is either set it near something like selenite, which is another type of crystal that has a natural way of charging itself up and charges other crystals up. Or you can set it out in under the moonlight. Black tourmaline won't fade, so you can put it in the sunlight, so sun charges it up too. Anyways, also by salt, you can leave just bowls of salt. Bowl of salt by the door, bowl of salt by under your bed. That all sucks up negative energies. You can do the salt lines around your home or around just entryways. I did it one year just for bugs, and it was amazing because I did have a lot less, like, I leave my door open accidentally sometimes. So anyway, moving along. You can turn off your Wi-Fi or get blockers and charge your phone away from yourself. So these are all things that you can simply protect yourself, because whether you feel it or not, the Wi-Fi and your EMF signals and radios and all that, they are doing stuff to you. Okay? And spatial awareness. One of the biggest things you can do to protect yourself out there when you were to look, if you look at any video of people attacking people, they do not look for confident people, okay? They look for people who are frazzled and busy and not noticing stuff. So one of the best things you can do if you are scared out there is you put your head up, you be confident, and you be aware. So if somebody's in your fucking peripheral, you fucking look at them. You look at them. You know? I just make people uncomfortable. I just stare at them. And I also don't go near people. There's certain people that they're waiting for you to talk to them too, right? And so I steer clear of people that I do not feel comfortable talking to. So yeah, there's one of the best things you can do is I always look like a woman on a mission. You would never know that I was like not confident, which is why I think a lot of people mistake my confidence, and they think that some people can call me intimidating, and it's more like that's my game face. I'm sorry. It's just the way that I've learned to carry myself in the world. But yeah, it's not something to take personal, but it can be easily taken personal when you don't know that I have a goofy personality, right? A quick tip that I have for people who are highly sensitive, though, would be anything to do with picking up on emotions or being worried about maybe other people, like, I don't know, any kind of psychological attacks or anything on you. Or if you are somebody who reads other people's minds or anything like that and you don't want to, one of the best things you can do is cover your head. Veiling is a really big, important process that they do in a lot of the realms of these things, but especially in magical workings. And so that's anything that covers your crown. You can do it in any kind of way. There's this way. There's people who put the complete bonnets on their head. There's people that also wear a lot of hats, anything like that, which I do both, but usually it's a hat. But one of the biggest things that have helped me, especially if I'm going into a situation where I need to keep my wits about me and I want to completely not take things personally and make sure that I am protecting myself that next level in my mind, is I do wear a hat or I do cover my crown. And so veiling is a very big step that they do. And so yeah, just one tool that you can use if you're somebody that kind of wants to block that or keep some of your thoughts to yourself, or help make sure your mood stays in balance with just you, or if you're easily frazzled when you go out into like big places kind of thing because you sense everybody's energy. Hats or veiling yourself, putting anything on the crown, anything like that can help you to harness that a bit more and to keep yourself a little bit more grounded. Okay, so now we're on to the more in-depth kind of forms of protection that you can do. So there's one that's called like an issue or clear sight, and this is a scary person / sit. And so your task is to see the person that you are scared of or you're having issues with, as a soul operating confusion, and you see the pain and see with compassion. And the more you do this, it helps you to vibrate higher and remove the negative attachments that don't serve. So we act different when we assume the worst. This is something that I was talking about in the beginning, and that's by sometimes the situation would never go the way it was if we weren't assuming the worst was about to happen, right? And sometimes I miss out on a lot of good opportunity, especially in the past, because I was so scared. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be terrible. These girls, like, they're making fun of me. Meanwhile, those girls like, oh, you really? really fun. It would have been nice to be your friend, but I can tell you're really not interested, And it's like, oh, shit. But even old people, I'm like, oh, that's an old creeper. And then meanwhile, it's this guy who knows all this amazing information about topics that I have been recently researching. So he's a guide meant to come help and teach me about some of these things that he's learned, right? But because I was programmed to be like, all men are creepy, I was like, yuck, and that's not, I'm not saying that he might not be, because in the end, who knows? Just because he knew these things does not mean he's not indeed creepy. And I trust my intuition enough to know probably a little creepy, if I think it anyway. But the point is that I could say that about anyone if I immediately allow my emotions to run me, to be like, this is what's factual, right? Because they will say that about everybody. It doesn't matter if they're a guy or not. If you're socially anxious, everybody's scary. So, yeah, for me, a lot of the time, it really helped me to see the innocence of everybody. Like, a lot of people are living their first life here, right? And they don't know what they're doing, and they're just trying to be friendly, and they're just trying, to have a good life. And so there are way more good people out there. There are the questionable ones, I'm not going to lie. But there are not as many of them as we think. And so for me, it became a crime to treat everybody that way, and to treat myself that way, because now I'm living in prison. Always scared who's coming to shank me, versus knowing that if somebody did come to shank me, I will fucking do something about it at that time. I don't have to protect myself in that way. I don't have to be on guard like that, because I can trust myself that when the going gets going, I will get turned up for it, so it's okay. But anyway, point being that when we start assuming the best, when people approach us, we start being like, what is the opportunity this little leprechaun or genie is going to come bring to me, right? What are you bringing to me? Because life only is good for me. Only the best of things happen for me. So what possibly are you coming to add in my life? And even if it's a negative, it's like, wow, that person really showed me how far I've come because I didn't freak the fuck out on them. And that happens sometimes when I'm driving. I'm like, I must be in a good mood because that guy did 17 things wrong and I didn't honk my horn once. But sometimes it feels more like a crime to not honk my horn, because it's like, how could you do that and nobody's saying anything to you? Anyway, sometimes I have the time to respond, and sometimes it feels more powerful to not. But yeah, so the next one is blueprint anchor. So before you sleep, sleeping is a very powerful time, right? Sit with your intention to anchor yourself back into your divine consciousness. So if you have an intention, this is when you already have something in mind that you kind of want to change in your life or focus on or bring about. So maybe you have a job or something coming up, or a home that you're going to look at, or I don't know. I don't want to say a date, but any kind of change, a big speech that you have going on. You want to stay with your intention of what that best possible outcome could look like for you. Anchor yourself into your divine consciousness, which means come into the body of yourself and be aware that that is already you in that intention. That is already you. That is already happening. It's already a real thing. All right? And so when you're in your divine consciousness, you start to realize your original self, your original blueprint, your purest soul state before anything conditioned you, right? And so you visualize this energy returning and filling you up down your spinal column, your spiritual column. And so usually you want to, again, do whatever kind of color feels right for you. But this is, again, usually the white or gold that you want to visualize kind of going down. But the whole point is that as you're sitting there thinking about your intention, you're allowing this ability to know that you're limitless to come back to you. That way, any of these things that you visualize, they are a very big reality for you, because you are limitless. You are everything. You don't have to be confined to this one thing. So I was really bad at public speaking when I was younger, and I thought I'd never be good at it, and I wouldn't say I'm great at it now. But I would say that the whole point is, when I get back to my original script as myself, my original blueprint, I am a speaker, right? I am somebody that loves to communicate. And therefore, when I take everything else out of it, that is at the heart of what public speaking is, to convey myself. And when I go back to my wholeness of who I am, that means that I am able to do that. Just by being me. I don't have to have any skills or abilities in order to become that. I already am that. right? And so you're more tapping in with the person that already knows that they are that and can do that, and it's already them. And so when that upgrade happens, what you're doing is you're surging the energy, because you're bringing it down through your crown when you connect with the divine consciousness, and you want to bring it all the way through your body. And your last or first chakra is your root chakra, which happens to go down to the end of your tailbone, which is, again, that whole spinal column, right? So you want that energy to go all the way down, because first chakra is what? It is our physical reality. So therefore you want to bring that all the way down, because you want what you're thinking to now come down to be real on this earth, okay? Anyway, point being, moving on now. Transmutation is the next one. So instead of simply shielding, like most people do, the basic way of just putting a bubble around yourself, you can also choose to alchemize the bad juju. So this is like one of my favorite things. And you alchemize it in your favor by, I'm just blocking it out. What we're doing when we shield. We're just trying to tell it to go away, pretty much. But when we transmute it, we're like, come into me. Because as you know, when energy comes in, if you're not aware of your energy, it's hard to alchemize it, because you just take things in then. When you're somebody who can alchemize, you bring it into your body, and the way that the body processes, you pull it up through you and you can release it. But on its way through, it transforms. It becomes something else. So therefore, when somebody sends me a blunder, I can make it my blessing, right? Now you manipulate everything into your favor now, rather than becoming manipulated or being a victim, right? The whole point of this is you get to use it for your benefit instead, right? And so that's why it's a big importance is to have this self-awareness, because even when things happen, it is a really big potent time for you to transform things to make it what you want of it, right? It doesn't have to be a negative blunder. It can be one of the best blunders ever that brought you your miracle. But the whole thing is that you have to choose how you're going to handle that, right? And the transmutation is the aspect of transmuting it into something else, transforming it, changing it, alchemizing it, is to make something that it wasn't before become something totally different now, right? And so what was once given to you in this form can now become this form. And when you learn to do that, it is a lot better, I would say, because then again, it adds another level to the protection of knowing it doesn't matter what comes in. I got it. I'll shift it in my favor no matter what that looks like, okay? And so, to do this, so close your eyes and visualize your heart center. You see the energy shooting up out of the top of your head, okay? The whole picture that we're going to create is a donut. But anyway, so you picture it coming out of the top of your head, dripping down over the top of you, but it has a donut-like shape, so the energy wraps back inside, okay? And so the donut goes over your entire body, starting at your head and ending at your feet, and the energy shoots out, and then the outside is that energy coming around you, and then when it comes back up through your feet, it is now being transformed to come up differently through the core of you, okay? So the energy wraps back inside, going in your feet, out the head, and back surrounding you, up all energy around you, allowing you to absorb the good and recycle the bad to turn it into good as it spins around. The more things that hit the ground for you, kind of like lightning, you're grounded, right? So you're not going to have bad things happen, because when things go into the earth neutralizes and harmonizes really easily. So that's one of the best things when you're feeling like particularly negative, is just go grounding, walk on the ground, or go hug a tree, because nature has this way of recycling energy very quickly for you. But when you get into alchemizing, you realize that you can alchemize for yourself, because your feet are your natural grounding tools like that. And so the more that you can bring this energy to cycle around you, the more that you then are naturally alchemizing or neutralizing or harmonizing the energy yourself to be refiltered through you as what you would like it to be. Okay? So this allows one to be an energetic recycler instead of an eternally victim. So an external victim, because if you're always like somebody that's, victim of your circumstances, then you're never really using these things to help you as much as they could be. So zero gossip tolerance, which is pretty important nowadays. Gossip, if anybody's seen in one of my videos, gossip is actually, if you were to look at the entities or energies that come along with gossiping, is you actually get these little green, like nasty little guys that come up and they vomit this green like slime on you. And you're like pouring it out as you speak gossip, and it's being energetically sent over to cover the person you're talking about. So you are getting covered in it because it's coming out of you, but it's also getting poured energetically on the person you're talking about. And so gossip is not good for the person who does it, and it's not good for the person you're doing it to. I highly recommend not gossiping. I highly recommend not being around gossiping. It is entirely different to share your life, and it is entirely different to talk about people in your life than it is to spread hate and evil eye, right? And so I scratched myself obviously too hard there. But anyway, the point being is that when others vent destructively, keep in mind this belongs to them, not to you. And so, or better yet, tell them you have no interest and walk away. Flip it to your perspective. Don't agree with negativity. So a lot of times I have people vent to me, and my favorite thing to be like, if that makes sense for you, I understand that. Because I don't want to agree with it because it's not for me. And if I agree with that negative statement, I can take it on. And so a lot of the time when we're gossiping or venting, they're not really, not all the time is it logical. What I mean is usually we have some emotion or something going on that is really running us. And again, those energies, when they run us, they are not beneficial for us. And so I don't really genuinely like gossiping. I don't mind hearing about people's life or stories and stuff that's going on and like congratulating for them. But I genuinely think we're all people and we all make mistakes. And so there's not really a reason for me to need to spend my time gossiping. There's not really any reason for me to hear it. Because gossip usually is not first person's telling. It's somebody else's shit that they're sharing, right? And I don't even really want to hear certain people's stuff, let alone somebody else in their life stuff, you know? But anyways, just don't co-sign with the gossip. Don't be around people who co-sign negativity and that be their only method of communicating, right? Like some people you'll say, I don't want to gossip anymore, and they'll have nothing to say to you because that person literally, that's all they can talk about. And I want you to know that if somebody only has gossip, they don't like their life. They have nothing to talk about because they aren't enjoying their life. People who gossip genuinely are living vicariously through others, and they're jealous about it. You know, or they're judging through that because they're like, how could they be bold enough to live like that? And I don't get to, you know? Anyway, point being, no gossip. Sovereign audit. So this is like, is this mine or did I catch this from another? This is probably one of my favorite things to do because when I first started out, I wasn't aware of my gifts and how much I could sense other people. And so a lot of the time, especially when I'm out and about or when I'm working closely with other people, I can take other people's crap on because I allow it and I claim it as my own. And then it festers, right? And so a big thing that I started doing was recognizing when I was taking on other people's emotions as my own, and to be like, oh, this isn't mine, so therefore I don't actually have to like take it this way. And another is then I could deal with the other person a little bit better because then instead of coming at it from the place that they're coming in at, I can actually approach it from my own, right? And so some people who are really negative and angry, the last thing that they need is for me to be negative and angry. But if I've been calm, cool, and collective, eventually I will put the hammer down as well. My family knows that. So I'm somebody that I'm nice until I don't feel the need to be nice anymore. But at some point, there was a point where I would rush to being negative or mean, and that was because I was tapping into other people sometimes. And long before that, I hadn't dealt with my own emotional regulation, so I was one of those people, right? When I didn't have the awareness, I was reacting that way on purpose, and now I have the awareness. And then I had slight awareness, but not aware of how it affected me. And now I have the awareness, and I know how it affects me, and I know how to control it, and I know how to be compassionate and move with it with others now. So there's levels to this stuff, right? But anyways, the whole point is to start with, is this mine? Because if you pick up something that ain't yours, like anxiety, you can call in and say, I return this to the source or the collective or wherever this came in from. And I wash it away in light now, and I protect myself. And so this rids you of anything negative or any negative energies or effects, and you should feel lighter pretty quickly. You can also do this. Sometimes we sense when people are thinking about us, or we sense when something is going on and you can state it out loud, like, I think so and such is thinking about me, and then immediately maybe that'll go away. And a lot of the time it frees you because, like, you named it, like your intuition is picking up on it, and so it keeps picking up on it until you're like, I acknowledge. And so that's another thing with your emotions, even if they're not others, being like, I feel that anxiety right now, and that is mine. So then now my brain registers, I now know I'm anxious, so I don't have to keep singing her the signal, pinging her the signal, sending her the signal, any of those things. She now knows we're anxious, so I can relax a bit, and you'll immediately feel a little bit better. A big point with self-awareness is having that immediate recognition, acknowledgement for what you're going through, and a lot of the time that's what's going to soothe things quite quickly. Even when I do get worked up with somebody and I'm like, this is mine, I'm like, but this situation doesn't call for this, so why is this mine? What's going on within me? And sometimes, a lot of the time, I haven't eaten, I haven't cared about myself, I haven't done something that I really wanted to do today, I've been driven by everybody else, and I haven't said no when I've been wanting to say no, right? And so when those things happen, it really helps you to kind of pinpoint what's actually happening for you. Another one is somatic discharging, probably one of my favorites. And this is just, the body stores stress and trauma, okay? And so at the end of the day, shake it out, right? Just shake it out. Bounce on your heels, dance for 2 minutes. It helps discharge all negative energies and built up energy. So you can be anything, you can sing or dance to anything. You don't have to sing, but you can just dance, and you don't even need to dance. Sometimes it's just, and like I said, jumping back and forth on your heels. It is that something to help your body just automatically, because like we said with the feet, right, you're able to ground yourself when you use them, and when you're able to put actual energy into releasing, not just dancing and you're not paying attention to it, which it'll still happen when you are not aware of it, but when you actively put the intention in to shake it all out, you'll definitely will shake it all out. And then the last one, earthing, which is barefoot grounding, which I already talked about a little bit, but yeah, walk on the ground barefoot for at least 10 minutes. Earth's natural charge pulls negativity out of the body and energy. This is one of the best ways to harmonize yourself, I would say, out of all of them. And Earth is really, planet Earth and nature is really big on protection and sturdiness, and so it wants you to feel strong and rooted. So one of the best things you can do to protect yourself is to go into nature and have it remind you of that you already are, and that it will give you even more if you ask for it. So some of the best main protection points for each area. So spiritually, realizing this is just what you should do to help protect yourself without actions. Just realize you're innately divine, safe at all times. Boop. For spirituality, realize you are innately, divinely safe at all times. No matter what, you are always safe spiritually. The moment that you're aware that you're safe spiritually, demons, stuff like that, ain't going to touch you. They ain't going to come for you because you are aware you're safe. Energetically, confident, be aware of the fact that you are confident and can handle any situations, that you can transmute anything for your betterment. This makes you invincible. Why that is? Energetically, because then whatever comes up into your energy field, you are capable of handling it. You are capable of moving it in your favor. Mentally, only then entertaining the thoughts that are yours or true to your higher self. This is no longer allowing those ruminations or old scripts or doubts or negative influences to run your mind. Now you're only thinking what truly matters and is true for your higher self now, okay? And so these are going to protect you the most for that mind of yours, is to only entertain that, because when you do that energetically, then you're still protecting that you can handle everything. Spiritually, you're still saying that I'm safe all the time, right? So those are all thoughts that you're only entertaining with your mental mind, to know that that is true of your higher self, of that oneness, of that divine consciousness of you. And physically, shaking it all off, and grounding, rooting yourself back into earth. Those are the simplest things you can do. You notice how most of them are perspectives. Only one has actual steps to physically do something. And even that is just to go be on the ground with your bare feet. Not hard to protect yourself. A lot of it is about what happens in here, in your mind. Okay? So if we're really going through it, now if we're in the war zone, people, okay? When you're surviving, physical protection is everything. Your body is the temple of your soul. So doing what you can to take care of it is the highest spiritual act we can do. Feed it, have shelter, stay hidden, and keep warm. So if you don't have much going on, this is the most basic thing you can do for yourself. Any kind of protection in this way is going to help you to be able to live to see another day, but also to be ready for what might happen on the next day. Have trust in your gut instincts, okay? When you're told to move, you move. Listen to your intuition. Being in the worst situations for me are what brought me my intuition. They're what made me know when she's speaking. You know, they're what made me know what that feels like, because I didn't have time to overthink it. I didn't have time to guess what's going on. You know, they were life or death moments, right? So when you're in the war zone, when you're going through it, trust that this moment will help you align the most with your gifts, with your senses, because you don't have the time, you don't have the luxury of escaping it. You know, these are your everything. They very much could be all you have to stay alive, okay? So, and in a day and age, that's, again, why sometimes I don't go on a trail. I don't post a certain day. You know, I don't speak on certain things. Like, there are certain things that I feel are not what I should be doing. My intuition is saying a no zone for that right now, right? So anyways, we cannot control the outer war, but we can control what our mind focuses on, right? So even though I can't end world hunger, I can do my part to stop what causes it, right? And that's society. Largely that's okay with billionaires starving people, right? So I want to teach people, like, we all can come together and this can actually be different. We all don't actually need to starve. We all don't actually need to work to survive anymore, right? I can't control all of those things, but I can help do my part in the little way that I can. And a large part is that just being in myself. You know, I can control myself. I can control how I react to this and how I benefit myself, okay? And so don't try to end the war, but do try to control how the war is affecting you, because that's how you can control it. So focus your mind on those small things, on those little details, right? And be able to work on the next step. And that's the next thing I have here is, like, protect the small things that you can control, and then the next step, keep focus on the present. What is going on right now that I need to deal with right this second? If I don't have one of those things like shelter, I can't be fed or stay hidden or keep warm, how can I get to one of those things? What's the next step for that? And how can I be in this present moment to make the most for that to be what happens for it, right? If your brain is focused, it has no time to dwell in terror, which is one of the best reasons why, if you have this active step of what matters right now, you're not sitting there thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to die. We're like, how am I going to survive? And these are the ways I'm going to survive. These are the ways I'm going to get through it. These are the ways I'm going to handle this. And this, you can apply this. War zone applies, like, also if you are depressed, you know, if you are having any kind of mental issues, if you are having any kind of relationship or home environment issues, you can apply these things in a different way. But at the end of the day, the most fundamental concepts that you need to have down are still going to be, am I fed? Am I warm? Am I nourished? Am I safe? Right? Can I sleep? Okay. Anyway, so keep your energy field tight like a shell, conserving your strength. That way, when we must deal with chaos outside, you act like a shadow, quiet, blending in, unnoticed. Right? And so sometimes this is when it's most important for you to be internally bound to yourself, to care only about yourself. When you are going through it, it is time for you to be your own hero and to know this is where my focus is. It's not on the war, on the entire world. When you're depressed, you ain't really helping the world, okay? It's about you right now. It's about how can I help me? Because if I help me enough, I can help the world. But right now, my world is me, okay? So how do I help me? Right? And that's where you keep your shield tight. So the bigger our shield is sometimes, the more people feel you and come into it and can invade it and can drain us, which is why sometimes being introverted or selective in your timing with others is really powerful, because sometimes you really do need just to have that energy completely honed in on you. All right, and so it's important to remember that when outside is war, your spiritual connection is a secret room inside us that no one can touch. This reminds me of like, you can be in jail and yet not be in prison. You know, like in your mind, you can always be free. No matter what's going on, as long as you know that you have that in you, it's a place you can always go, right? And there are no regulations there. There are no rules there. You are free, right? And so no one can touch you. And so this is a place where we go to hold on to hope, to know that we are still have hope for the next day, and that these circumstances are temporary. These are only momentary happening here. So remembering who we are under it all, under all this war zone, under everything that's happening, remembering that core divine consciousness of who you are, this is where you go to repeat your truths to yourself, you know, and keep yourself anchored away from the outside, because the war cannot affect what's inside if you don't let it get in, right? Like the ship can only sink if the water gets in. And so at this point, it's important for us to know that we can control what happens. And the best thing that we can do is protect ourselves by having these things in place and not expecting too much of ourselves, especially when we are going through the worst of it. All right, so one of the last things I have here before we go to our ending points is my own personal fave tool, which is call our power back to us. One of the simplest forms that I do is my name is, and then you say your name, and I call back all my power and energy from every person, place, or thing in this lifetime, universe, dimension, galaxy, or any other. I call back all of my power and energy now, clean, recalibrated, and only belonging to me. So mote it be, so blessed be, so it is. Whatever you want to finish it with. Whatever it is you need to end it with, so now it is. Something, it's done. Whatever, make a proclamation, right? The point is to put that period in reality of statement. And so I usually say it a few times, and it's interesting because I've learned over the years that sometimes the more you mess up on this wording when you say it out, the more you might have had things impacting you. So the more you might have had forces or other people's energies who have been benefiting off of your energy, be trying to claw you back. They don't want you to take it. So if you even mess up on one or two words, I'd highly recommend saying it again. I highly recommend almost repeating this until you don't mess up at all. And that's just because sometimes I'll mess up 3 or 4 times, and to me they don't count because I didn't say all of it usually. Sometimes I'll still count it if I got all the words out, but sometimes you say the words in the wrong order, say them differently, miss words completely. Either way, it's important to say your name because your name is tied to you and your energy. Another level of what I've done since starting this work has been to add another layer onto this, which is you call your power back, and then at the end of that I say, and now I call my power back to being grounded, back to the center of me in a completely whole and healed state for the best use of me and only me to help the world in the most I can, love and light. But I call it back to being grounded in a centered way that is only beneficial for me. And now I seal it with a golden ball of light that is only of love and light to help keep my energy completely contained for me and shield away from anything that I do not want coming in contact with me, protecting me from anything that does not align with my soul at this time, and to revitalize me for anything that is an opportunity coming to me. I now declare it, and so it is. So for me, those are things that I do quite regularly because I do a lot of work regularly that I need to call my energy back from. But these are really important to do when you've gone to like big events, anything super emotional, when you've had a really trying day, when you've broken up or had any kind of breakups with people or situations, because we leave our energy behind, right? And so I'd say, yeah, probably one of my favorite things to do as a basic level of protection. Okay. So endpoints here. Not all of us need the same level of protection. Some need survival level and some need self-mastery level. Like I need a self-mastery level, right? Sometimes you have to go back through both at times. So sometimes I get put back in through my survival mode, and that teaches me more how to master myself, right? But anyways, protection is unique to us all, but each of us needs it in the way of care for self and for this planet. We want boundaries that help life thrive, and without protection, there is no standard for what does or doesn't do that. It's okay to not care about care about this topic, just like my other topics, but it also matters despite us caring or not. Not all of us are affected the same way by variables, so it's understandable. Only some may value it for what it does for us once we honor it and practice it. Why some who have only survived can see the essential clinging to some basic concepts I mentioned. Not everybody will understand some of these things, and that's because you haven't lived the life to experience what I mean. And I'm grateful maybe you haven't, because sometimes that means you've maybe had a little bit gentler of a life, and sometimes you'll understand them on a whole other level deeper than me because you had an even more intense life than me. And I thank you for still being here then for that, right? But the whole point is, the level of which you understand this is the level of which you can use it, and I hope that you can understand it fully and use it to your fullest positioning, because it's really important to know that beyond survival we can thrive, but when we are so busy trying to guard or protect ourselves, we'll never know what that looks like. But everyone could have value in this if they did understand it to the level of those who are just survivors, okay? Those never challenged haven't learned the same life experience as those who have, and in the end, life experience is the best protection of all. My whole concept as a person who used to only survive was to help teach others to thrive, even if they still are mainly only surviving. To make the most of life and protection is a large part of it. And by me protecting myself, I stopped eating unhealthy, so a great deal of body and mind issues that come from those were eliminated. I stopped drinking and hanging around hardcore partiers or drinkers or abusers, and suddenly didn't have trauma from friends every event. Not a gong show, and not every emotion was a fight. Every disagreement no longer was against each other. My protection changed from keeping all the people, energy, and feelings magic away from me, as it was unmanageable, to being something I knew I could handle regardless, and in fact made me stronger because I could trust myself to protect me when needed and to not drag me into stuff that wasn't mine to deal with. I get to thrive now, not because I or life am perfect, because I finally didn't need it to be before I started enjoying it. I feel safe in it, and I was able to do so by enforcing what I needed supported in my life and letting go of what didn't suit my life anymore. I used to need tons of friends and needed everyone to like me. Needed money to use it on others so they could see how good of a friend I was. Needed approval, waiting for all to be perfect. In the end, approval, perfection, good friends, being liked never came, not fully anyways. It was approved of because it was all a part of a show I put on for each person. And when the show ended, what was there was never real. And it never really liked me, did it? So protection for me now, it's enough even if it's just me who likes me. It's by not seeing everyone and not only needing to be seen or heard by the ones that do align with me. It's saying no to all events, words, opinions, negatives, things unaligned with me, as I know who I am so fully it protects me from lies about me. It protects me from the weight of others' opinions that want to diminish or scorn me. Protection for me now is a body that feels good and I feel good about enjoying nourishing self and knowing the simple things are my fave, so I don't need to do the most with the most money to know how good life is. Protection for me now is honoring my home, my body, my mind, my spirit, and the connections they deserve the best care, and filtering away all that would urge me otherwise. It's taking time away, resting and integrating in a world that never turns off or unplugs. It's pausing and assessing before responding, as we never learn not to react. It's about knowing the divine is on my side, and regardless of what comes my way, nothing can ever take my spirit away. And that's the true protection we can always have, and that will always stay with us even if it's our time to go. But because the truth is, as long as we lived a life that was true to us, it was a good life. In the end, we can never end or protect ourselves from our ending. It'll always come. And so, like I said, there will always be things that arise. Like, we can never protect ourselves from everything. The best thing we can have is know that we are protected through them and can deal with them and can come out the other side better and more evolved. And that life experience will be the best protection we have in the future for anything that arises. When I started this journey of protection, I would have never known where it would have led me. I would never known what it would have required from me either. And a big part of that was just being my honest self, and recognizing that there was so much that I had told myself wasn't safe for so long. Like, I didn't even feel safe to wear my skin out, right? Like, I was somebody that hid her body all the time. I was somebody that we would never catch me out of the house with those sweatpants. I was somebody, that forgot that she had something important to say. And so she didn't really say anything besides jokes at people and that were maybe mean. And so there's so many versions of me that have changed throughout all the course of my life. And I'm honored to know that I'm still only at this age that I'm at and still have so much life to live and to experience. And the best part about it is having so much life experience to move on with. I experienced a really hard, rough beginning years of life because I chose it for myself. A lot of it, that was the perspective and sight that I had and the ways that I dealt with it. And in doing so, I gained an immeasurable amount of life experience and put myself in so many positions to be able to understand so many people around me, and to understand the different levels of protection that influence us at any time and can help us. It has been a pleasure, honestly, to protect myself more. I was somebody that never felt I needed to, and even when I knew I needed to, thought that I was strong enough to deal with it anyways. And part of that was feeling like I had to prove my worth by dealing with those harder things, And now, protection is me knowing that, I literally don't have to put anything on myself ever. And that at any moment I can walk away from anything that is not serving me. And that in a large level of it, that none of this stuff I have to take in a negative way. And most of my days, even when it is a negative thing, it was a large part of how I see it and what I created it to be, and why I choose to create better now. So protecting yourself is really important. I'd say the protection work is more about remembering that you are the one that controls your perception. When your perception is unchecked, then anything can be unsafe. But also, so many things could be unsafe that are blessings for you, right? And so, in the end, we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves because we deserve to be protected, not because we're scared, but because we honor ourselves enough to know that you deserve that kind of level of treatment. And it doesn't mean that, something bad is happening. It's because you want only good things to happen. And protection makes sure that that's streamlining that process for you, right? And so, with love in my heart, I hope that you had something you learned from this video and that you can learn to protect yourself that one level step further, and that you can see protection work for a whole other bigger, grander meaning than just, how to actually protect yourself. But yeah, truly hope that the world can come together and we can protect each other and the world in a much more unified state, because we deserve that, and so does it. It takes care of us, and I really love nature, so the more we can protect it, the more that I would love that, because, I want it to be here forever. And I genuinely believe in New Earth, in a utopia. That's what we're moving towards, is a place that it is protected from ever reaching that state where it could be demolished or taken advantage of in that way. And I hope for everybody to reach that state, because none of us deserve to be treated that way. And the more that we, fail to see that how these little ways, even if they seem positive to us, right, they're at a detriment, and that it's not required for you to be of worth or to be loved. Okay, so much love until next time. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.